Choreb Beruach, Sword of the Spirit. Interpreted and narrated by Wendy. BeMidbar, Numbers, chapter 23. And it came to pass on the next day that Balak took Bilom and brought him up into the high places of Baal, Master, Lord. And from there they saw the outer edges of the people. Then Bilom said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here, and prepare me 7 bulls and 7 rams." So Balak did as Bilom had spoken. Then Balak and Bilom offered upon each altar a bull and a ram. Then Bilom said to Balak, "Stand by your ascension offering, and I will go. Perhaps he who exists will come to meet me, and whatever he shows me, I will tell you." Therefore he went to a high place. Furthermore, Elohim met Bilom. So he said to him, "I have prepared 7 altars. Also, I have offered a bull and a ram in each altar." Therefore Yehu put a word in Bilom's mouth and said, "Return to Balak, and thus you will speak." Then he returned to him, and lo, he stood by his ascension offering, and all the princes of Moab with him. Also he took up his parable and said, "Balak, the king of Moab, has brought me from Aram, out of the mountains of the east. Come curse Jacob for me, and come defy Jashari'al. How can I curse whom all has not cursed? Or how can I defy whom he who exists has not defied? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Look, the people dwell alone, and among the nations they have no affiliation. Who can count the dust of Jacob, or number 1/4 of Jashari'al? You will die a righteous death, and your posterity will be like his." Therefore Balak said to Bilom, "What have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and behold, surely you have endowed them." Then he answered and said, "Should I not heed to speak that which he who exists puts in my mouth?" Then Balak said to him, "I pray you, come with me to another place. From here you can see them. You see the outer edge of them, but you do not see all of them. Then curse them for me from there." So he brought him into the field of Tzupim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars. Then he offered a bull and a ram on each altar. And he said to Balak, "Stand here by your ascension offering while I meet yonder." And Yehu met Bilom, and put a word in his mouth, and said, "Go again to Balak, and say thus." Then he came to him. Behold, he stood by his ascension offering, and the princes of Moab with him. And Balak said to him, "What has he who exists spoken?" Therefore he took up his parable and said, "Rise up, Balak, and hear. Hearken unto me, you son of Zippor. Al is not a man, that he would lie, nor the son of a man, that he would repent. Has he said and not done? Or has he spoken and not made it good? Behold, I have approved an endowment. He is endowed, and I will not reverse it. He has not beheld iniquity in Jacob, nor has he seen perverseness in Jashari'al. He who exists, his Elohim, is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. Al brought them out of Mitzrayim. He has horns like a wild ox. For there is no divination within Jacob, nor is there any witchcraft within Jashari'al. Like now it is said of Jacob and of Jashari'al, "What will Al do? Behold, the people will rise up as a great lion, and lift himself up as a young lion. He will not lie down until he eats of prey and drinks the blood of the slain. Then Balak said to Bilom, "Don't curse them, but don't endow them." So Bilom answered and said to Balak, "Did I not tell you, saying, all that he exists speaks, that I must do?" Then Balak said to Bilom, "I pray you, come, I will bring you to another place. Perhaps it will please Elohim that you curse them for me from there." So Balak brought Bilom to the top of Paor, which overlooks the face of the wasteland. And Bilom said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here, and prepare me 7 bulls and 7 rams." Therefore Balak did as Bilom had said. Thus he offered a bull and a ram on each altar. However, when Bilom saw that it pleased Yehuah to endow Jashari'al, he did not go like the other times, to seek divinations. Instead, he set his face towards the wilderness. And Bilom lifted up his eyes, and he saw Jashari'al abiding according to their tribes. Moreover, the Ruach of Elohim came upon him. Then he took up his parable and said, "The utterance of Bilom, the son of Be'ar, and the utterance of a mighty man with uncovered eyes, the utterance of him who hears the sayings of all, he who sees the vision of Shaddai, falling down with uncovered eyes. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your tabernacles, O Jashari'al. Like the valleys, they are spread forth, like gardens by the river, like the aloe trees that were planted by he who exists, like cedar trees beside the waters. He will pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed will be in many waters, and his king will be higher than Agag. Also, his kingdom will be exalted. Al brought him from Mitzrayim with strength. Like a wild ox, he will eat up the nations of his enemies, and he will break their bones. Also, his arrows will pierce. Crouching, he lies down like a lion. Yet, like a great lion, who will stir him up? Endowed is he who endows you, and cursed is he who curses you. Therefore Balak's anger was kindled against Bilom, so he clapped his hands together. Then Balak said to Bilom, "I called you to curse my enemies. Behold, surely you have endowed these 3 times. Now flee to your place. I thought to promote you with great honor, but lo, he who exists has withheld honor from you." Therefore Bilom replied to Balak, "Did I not speak also to your messengers, who you sent to me, saying, if Balak would give me his house, full of silver and gold, I will not go beyond the commandment of he who exists, to do good or evil from my own mind. What he who exists says, that I must speak. Now behold, I will go to my people. Come, I will advise you what these people will do to your people in the latter days." So he took up his parable and said, "The utterance of Bilom, the son of Beor, and the utterance of the mighty man with uncovered eyes, the utterance of him who hears the words of all, and he who knows the knowledge of the Most High, from a vision of Shaddai, falling with his eyes uncovered. I saw him, but not now. I beheld him, but not near. There will come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter will rise out of Jashari'al, and smite the corners of Moab, and dig up all the children of Shet. And Adum will be an inheritance. Also, Sha'er will be an inheritance of his enemies. Thus Jashari'al will do valiantly. Furthermore, he who has dominion will come from Jacob, and destroy those who remain from the city." Then he looked upon Amalek. He took up his parable and said, "The dweller of the valley was the first of the nations, but his posterity will be destroyed forever." Then he looked on the Keni, and took up his parable and said, Strong is your dwelling place, and you have nested in a rock. For if it becomes a burnt possession, by what wall will you become captive? Furthermore, he took up his parable and said, Woe! Who will live when all does this? Alas, there will be ships with the strength of Kittim. Also, he will afflict Ashur and afflict Aiber. So too they will be destroyed forever. Then Bilom rose up and left. Therefore he returned to his place. Also Balak went his way.